What's going on, guys? Mike Paletta here at Bass Yackwords TV, and today I'm going to show you why I set up my Jackson kayak, especially my Mayfly, the way I do, and the top 5 things that I added to it this season to make it the best bass fishing kayak it could possibly be. Coming up. So I've had a lot of people ask me, why in the world I set my kayak up the way that I do? And the shortest answer is, I grew up on bass boats, man. Big decks, tons of rods, tons of storage, motors that fly across the water, and I'm still getting used to the kayak world. I've been doing this for 4 years, and there's still days that I hop on this thing and I struggle with the limited amount of space that I have and the limited resources that I'm able to bring with me at a certain time. But because of that, I have spent as much time as someone physically can researching all the best products on the market to find exactly what will make this boat work for me at peak efficiency. Let me show you what I did. Now, one thing that I think is important on any fishing boat, especially on the kayak, is a nice fish finder. It doesn't have to be crazy. It does not have to be what I picked up this year, which was an Elite 5 Ti that I got off Trent for an amazing price. But it has to tell you water depth and water temperature. Those are extremely important for any angler, and as long as you have a fish finder that can accurately tell you those things, it is well worth it to have on your boat. This one, though, as you can see, has that total scan transducer, and that shows you down scan imaging, side scan imaging, and it's made fishing not only a lot more intuitive, but a lot more fun, because I get to play around with stuff while I'm on the water. But as you can see, that thing is big, and there's no real good way to mount it on a kayak, and I was really struggling trying to figure it out, and that's when I came across product number 1 out of our top 5 things I've added to the Jackson Mayfly, and that is the Yakattack switchblade transducer mount. Now, this one can mount multiple different ways. I've got it mounted just straight to the track on the front of the Mayfly, and then all I got to do whenever I'm ready is just tilt it and put it in the water. Obviously, it hangs vertical, and this will still show me all my down scan imaging, all my side scan imaging. It's mounted absolutely perfect. It works so well. But Luther, if you ever get the chance to watch this video, the only thing I please ask you to change is this nut right here. If you could add a T-bolt with a Phillips head or a hex head, something that we can tighten down with a screwdriver or a socket, that would be huge. Because the only thing I have noticed, the only complaint I've got, is that this thing can walk loose throughout the day. So that would be the only thing that I would change. But overall, I love this product. It has made mounting this big transducer so much easier. Now, in mounting this, I took good use of Jackson's rod holders they put in here, or the rod tubes, and I fed the transducer cable through the rod tube into the boat, and then I just tied up all the excess, drilled a hole that comes straight out the front of the boat right there by the Jackson logo and straight into the back of the unit. I did the same thing for the power cable, which runs to the back of the boat, and I'll show you what that hooks up to in a second. That has made mounting this transducer and fish finder so clean, so simple. There is hardly any wires to snag. There's nothing to be worried about. This thing's not going anywhere. Now, if you're a Jackson Mayfly owner, or you've looked at this kayak before, you'd say, hey, isn't there a footrest like right here normally? Yes, there is, and I hated it. I could never get it tightened down where I wanted it to. It always slipped and slid in that track. I could never get it where I wanted it to. So this winter, I ripped it out. I ripped out the seat, and instead I put this. Number 2 on our list of top 5 things I've added, which is the Orion Cooler with the Orion Handy Back on it. What this has allowed me to do is get way up off the deck so I can see very well even when I'm sitting down. And it's also a lot more user-friendly because there is no more footrest to get in the way. I just push straight down with my legs now instead of pushing against the footrest when I paddle, and it still works absolutely perfectly. I'm still in plenty good access of my fish finder. I can reach the transducer no problem. I can get in the front hatch if I need to. I can even reach my whistle all the way at the front of the boat if I need it. But this has totally changed the way that I sit on this kayak and the way I store my tackle. Because if we roll around, flip these latches, you'll see I have all of my tackle stored directly inside of my cooler. This has been great because it allows me to grab whatever I need, keep it stored nice and safe underneath me, locked up, and that way all of my stuff is in one area, ready to rock, nice and simple. Products number 3 and 4 are right here. Number 3 is one that you've seen plenty of times on this channel, and you will see it as long as I'm alive, is the Cal Coast Donkey Leash. Now this thing is an absolute must for any kayaker that fishes in tournaments, any person that fishes in small boat tournaments that do catch photo release style tournaments, or anyone that just wants to get good pictures of their fish and doesn't want to rush. This thing is absolutely awesome. So to open it, all you do is get your fingers on the 2 tabs up front, get your thumb in the middle, and press. It opens it up. You clip this right to the fish's lower jaw and toss them in. That way the fish stays out of the way but is safely leashed up on this kayak. This is a steel cable. It's not going anywhere. Those fish are going to be nice and easy to reach. You get everything you need together. Get the fish up on, or get your board ready. Pull the fish in, unclip them, get them on the board, and get your pictures. Whenever I'm done, I clip it right there, and that way it stays out of my way, but right where I need it to be when I'm ready to go. Absolutely awesome product. Highly recommend it to anyone fishing on a kayak. So product number 4 on my top 5 things that I added in 2019 are actually 3 things that you see here. It is my 2 Guardian 55 leashes that hold my plastic phone case and my catch board, which is actually a bonus thing that I added this year, and the Defender rod and paddle leash that you see there hooked up to the Bending Branches paddle from Rogue Fishing. Rogue Fishing is a newer company, but they are so dedicated to making sure things work the way they're supposed to and are the highest quality that you can get. I mean, just take a look at the detail that they put into their shrink tubing on all of the connections to make sure these things hold up to the test of time. I cannot say anything negative about any of the products I've picked up from Rogue Fishing. Michael also uses one of their Ally stand and assist straps on his kayak. He's also got another phone case hooked up to a Guardian on his, and we have not found one flaw on any of our leashes from those guys. Now I went with the rust color to obviously go with the brown in the kayak. Looks real good in my opinion, and I could not be happier. Mark and the guys over at Rogue Fishing truly care about making quality products for kayak fishermen, because they're kayak fishermen too. And it has been an absolute pleasure doing business with them, and every kayak I own from this point forward will have their stuff on it. So moving back behind the seat, you'll notice there's, well, it looks like a ton of unused space. And that's not the case. This is exactly how I wanted it to be. I don't like Yakattack black packs. I don't like milk crates. They just don't work for the way I like to store my tackle. So this gives me a huge spot to put my ProFish gear, lunker, snatcher, net. Now these are made by G2 Everlast for ProFish gear, but they're wrapped in the, of course, bright lime green, and anybody that knows me knows exactly that's the reason why I bought it. And I love it. Highly recommend either this net or the original G2 Everlast to any kayaker, because they float, they're rubber, your baits don't get stuck in them, they don't hurt the fish, they're perfect. They are the best net out there, in my opinion, unless you like the leverage nets and stuff like that. What I did instead for my rod holding purposes is I built 2 extensions out of 1¼ PVC, and what that does is just gets those rods up a bit, makes it a little bit easier for me to grab them from sitting in the high position. And then I added just 2 standard ram rod holders. Now, I normally carry 6 rods with me So that leaves me room to put the 2 that I'm using the most up front with me on the boat, or if I'm just starting the day, the 2 that I think I'm going to use the most, and then the rest go back here, whether they're baits I'm going to try throughout the day or spare rods in case I backlash one, whatever. They're all kept back here, low, out of the wind. Unlike a lot of my old setups, it really works quite well for how I like to use it. And last but not least, we've got the very back of the kayak, which is where I got a little creative this year. Now you can see where my Anchor Wizard runs, and it's got 2 metal carabiners that it goes through that kind of helps it flow out away from the center of the kayak, which is kind of how I wanted it. And it comes back here. But you'll notice that this is not factory. That is a piece of cutting board that I used with a micro pole anchor mount, or anchor template. I cut it out to fit there, so that way not only could I put my Anchor Wizard on there, but if you notice these 2 holes here, I have my 7-foot camera pole that I can put back here just by attaching it with a couple screws, and it goes right on and holds my camera way up for when I get those cool aerial shots like you see here. The other thing that I did, and right now it is filled with silicone, is I drilled a hole through here so I can feed my power cable all the way up to the camera when it's hooked up that way. That allows me to never have to worry about changing out batteries as long as I've got enough memory on the SD card to film all day. And that's exactly what I wanted, was something that I could film with, just press play and go. But you may be asking how in the world I power that big fish finder, and actually 2 cameras, all day. And that is where final product number 5 comes in. We open up the hatch here, and inside you'll see, oh yes, the Yakattack power kit made by Nocqua. So it's a Nocqua 10 amp hour battery that I've got wired in here. I still have to figure out a good way to store that besides of just laying it there in the back of the boat. I want to try to get it mounted up somewhere. So that's still the last thing I've got to do to really tie all this together. But you can see the power cable for the fish finder runs all the way back through the boat and comes back here. That is how I eliminated most of the wires on my deck and got it as clean as I possibly could, keeping it, you know, kind of like my old bass boats used to be. But that way it's all tucked away nice and neat. I don't have to worry about it. It's all set up ready to go for how I like to fish. Well guys, there you have it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Maybe it shed some light on ideas that you guys had or questions on why I set up things the way that I do. If you have any questions on anything that you saw on that kayak or any ideas for ways to rig out your kayak, hit us up. Comment down below. Let me know what you guys want to see. Reach out to us on our email, on our business page, bassyackwards.tv.com. Reach out to me on Facebook, Instagram, whatever you want to do. I am more than willing to help you guys set up your kayaks as best as you can to fit your style of fishing. This is Mike Pletta with Bass Yackwards TV. You guys have a good one.